Hi everybody and welcome back to part 2 of our Contact Firesword tutorial. If you missed part 1 of our Contact Firesword tutorial, you find the link to the first video somewhere floating around here, or at least in the description down below. Today I will show you the second part, how we build our Contact Firesword with the counterweight and how to design the handle. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Kai, I'm a professional juggler and recently switched on this YouTube channel from German to English on the tutorials to reach a bigger audience. It would be awesome if you subscribe to the channel and don't miss any tutorial or performance videos. But now, let's start. What we need is the first contact sword we built in part 1, a silicone hose, a silicone mat. For the counterweight we need a juggling stage ball, in my case with 10 centimeters diameter, a couple of steel adjusting rings with 20 millimeters inner diameter, and a steel handrail ball. You find them for the end cap for handrails with inner threads. And any preferred material for your handle, tennis grip or something like that. Through the magic of filmmaking, the color of the silicone hose has changed because I've just grabbed the wrong size. So we are going to cut about 3 centimeters of the hose. It doesn't have to be pretty exact. In this case it's silicone hose with about 20 millimeters inner diameter and a wall thickness of 3 millimeters. We grab the first piece of silicone hosing and slide it on. If it isn't slippery enough, you can add a little bit of water. We want it nice and flush to our Kevlar wick, so there is nothing exposed from the metal. Now we take our silicone mat, cut off a piece. Size doesn't matter so much at this moment. Now we take a pen and try to make a circle about the 20 diameter or the outer diameter of your alloy tubing, in this case 20 millimeters, and you cut it out. It can be a little bit smaller, that you have it more snug fitted to the tubing. We will check if we can go over it. Yeah, that should work fine. And now we make a circle around it in the size what you'd prefer. I've just simply grab a roll of duct tape and use the inner diameter to draw the circle. I would say it's about 7 centimeters and the diameter maybe less. And again, we are going to cut it in a nicely round shape. Now we slide it over until it's flush to the silicone hose we added, and then we grab the second part of the silicone hose, and again we are sliding it over the whole tube. We are going to push the second hose also, again the first, to get it nice and flush. And so we have the Kevlar wick, a little bit of silicone, the silicone plate to protect us from the flames walking up, and again a little bit of silicone. And now we are going to work on our counterweight. Hey, before we go on, let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next as a tutorial, maybe some easy Feuerpoi or a basic stuff. And I'm sorry if this video isn't straightforward as you used to. I'm a bit in a hurry and hasn't the time to write a whole script, and so maybe some steps aren't in the right order or just perfectly described. So if you have any questions, let it know me down in the comments below and I will try to answer it in my best way. And now we are going on. So I switched the design a little bit. We're going to use the steel ball as the main counterweight, but we will cover it with a stage ball because a lot of people using this without any coverage or softening it. But if you hit yourself or somebody else with it, it's get really, really nasty. So I highly recommend to cover it in any kind possible just to dampen it up. In this case, the stage ball. At first, we will slide on the weights, but we don't have to tighten them yet. It's still good that they can be moved freely. Now we are placing a piece of wood inside the end of the tubing that we can screw in the metal ball. I will mark how deep the wood will be going inside the stuff. And now I will drill a hole in it that I can secure the wood dowel with a screw. And for the final finish, I like to grab a bigger drill bit and go into it, that the screw will be nice and flush to the alloy surface and won't stick out too much. And now we screw it in. So you see, now the screw is still looking out a little bit, but that's not a problem because we will slide over the contact ball. So now we can grab our steel ball and screw it into the wood. In this case, it's pretty handy to drill a hole in it to get it easier in. When you're drilling the hole inside, try to be as straight as possible. And don't drill too deep into this wood. Now we grab our steel ball and screw it in. For a second, I will remove the screw of the wood dowel and slide the weights back down there until I reach the place where the wood screw was. I try to show it again on the close-up. So here is the hole for the screw to hold the wood dowel. Here's the steel ball, and these are the sliding counterweights. We can place our stage ball. We now placed our stage ball over the steel ball, and we're going to mark the spot where it roughly ends. So we can slide enough of the spacer beneath it so they will be disappeared. And it seems to be pretty much exact 3 of them. So now I will grab my hex key and the small screws which we have placed separate, and I will screw them inside the steel rings to mount the steel rings or to fix the steel rings. that they don't move in any direction. Now we will place the screw again, which will be secure the wood. Now we are going to slide on the stage ball over everything. We have covered the screw, the huge steel ball and the two steel rings with a stage ball. And we grab a bit of super glue. And now we are going to fill the slots. We cut it in there with super glue and glue them together again. Now we have glued the ball back together. We will fix the last two remaining rings, again with the small screws we put aside. And basically that's how you counterweight the whole sword on the right spot. If you are really nitty-gritty, you can slide these around to find the perfect balance point for you. The next step is just an option. I prefer some flour on the head, so I will grab again my silicone mat and a little bit of silicone tape. So we are going to cut roughly about 10 centimeters of your silicone mat. This was the part where I cut out the spacer for the handle. And now, that's not so straight, you straighten it up. You cut about every 2 centimeters in your silicone mat to get such stripes. We cut our silicone. We grab our silicone tape. That's this kind of self-sticking silicone tape. You start by making the first layer around it, that you have a base to work on. Then you grab your pre-cut tether, not a tether like this flowy thing, wrap it around, and now you can again take your silicone tape and go over it to fix it. I try to make the last round really stretched, that it will stick to itself pretty good. And then you can cut off the rest. You don't need. You could use normal tape for that, but I prefer the silicone because it gives a much smoother connection between these tethers, the ball and the steer rings, and so the steer rings are dampened again. And now my preferred grip tape is a soft base. It's like a foam tape for the basement, and over that I put basically tennis grip or Pro is Pro, it's called here in Germany. It's pretty cheap, you can change it again and again and again. It's just about €1 per wick, and this foamy, softened, dampened grip inside will remain on the stuff. So now, after we added our preferred handle tape, we are nearly finished, but first, let me know what you think about this tutorial and what do you want to know about this tool or any other tool building tutorial. Write it down in the comments. And in the last step, we are going to mark our balance point. In this case, the balance point without fuel on it. We're just searching for it with our finger. And we can mark it with a high visual tape that we can find it easily. And if you like, you can repeat this step with the same tape or a tape in a different color when you dip the sword. So the balance point will be going to the blade, maybe around here, and you can mark it with a different color so you always know the space from your balance point is, because the balance point will shift over time during the burn simply because the blade is getting lighter and lighter with every fuel is burning away. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm happy that you stick to the end, and it would be really great if you subscribe to the channel. It really helped me growing and reach a bigger audience, and you, if you ring the bell icon, don't miss any upcoming video, new tutorials from building tools and performances with them. So thank you.